Hi, everyone. On this episode of Me, You, and Who, we are talking to Juli Velasquez. She is a three-time gestational carrier. She carried in 2015, twins in 2017, and her last journey ended in 2020. Juli has pumped for all three of her surro babes, as well as breastfed her two sons for 13 months each. She has since become a doula and lactation consultant and actually has that on pause while she is currently in school to become a registered nurse so she can help more women in a hospital setting. Juli took the time with us to speak on what it is to pump as a surrogate, tips and tricks. We even have a discussion about shipping and all of those nitty gritties that those questions just come up as you're discerning whether or not you want to be choose to pump for your journey. So we are so grateful to Juli for sharing her story as a surrogate, as well as being just a wonderful resource for what it looks like to pump for as a gestational carrier. So thank you, Juli, and please enjoy Juli Velasquez. Me, you, and who? Who knew it would take more than two people to have a baby? In a world where infertility is no longer a taboo topic, this podcast will take you through all the different aspects of surrogacy and egg donation through the lens of many who walk this journey in different ways. My name is Whitney Hall, and I am a two-time surrogate, now turned surrogacy coordinator for Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions, the very agency I used when I chose to carry for two amazing families. With this podcast, it is our goal to help guide and support you as you learn about what it takes to grow a family in an alternative way, as well as hear inspiring and beautiful stories of how this path has changed lives forever. We can't wait for you to hear about just one more way happy families are created every day. Well, you taking the time out of your incredibly busy schedule already to just have this conversation with me. Obviously, like, birth work is a passion of yours. Did you do surrogacy and then go into lactation, and what was that timeline?
I did. So I kind of knew that I always wanted to be a nurse, but I had little kids. Like, I had decided after I had kids that that's what I wanted to do. But I also knew what went into nursing school, and I knew that I needed to be like in a season of like my kids being a little bit older.
Sure.
And then the timing was kind of perfect because I knew that it was going to be my last journey. And I'm thinking, like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do with my life if I'm not having babies? Like, I literally didn't know what to do with myself. So I was like, well, I could help other people with their babies. So I was like, I think I was 6 months pregnant in my last journey. And I decided, okay, I'm going to get my doula certificate and I'm going to get my lactation certificate. And that's what I'm going to do. So it's kind of like that. I knew one chapter was ending, but I wanted to like go on forever. So I was like, okay, like, let's start to put the pieces in place so that when I'm done, I'm not completely crushed.
Sure. Well, okay, so I fully understand. So you have how many kiddos?
I have two boys. They are
Two boys.
11 and 12. They're both currently home with the flu.
Oh, babies. Poor things. Oh, no.
I know. It's so
always
sad.
something. It's always
Yeah.
something.
But yeah, so I have two boys. They're 11 and 12. So that was 2010 and 2012.
Okay.
I had them. And I knew before I even had my own kids, like, it was always like a conversation. I don't know, it was really weird, but just my husband knew when we were done having our own babies that I was going to be having babies for somebody else. Like, he knew that.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you know that? Like, how did surrogacy kind of fall into your world?
So my sister actually, this is a long time ago. So this was in 2008, I think it
Uh-huh.
was. She applied to be a surrogate. I never heard of it before. I was completely fascinated immediately. But she ended up getting pregnant with her baby before she could actually pursue it. It was her second baby, so before she
Uh-huh.
could actually pursue it. Um, but that's where it came into my mind. She never ended up being a surrogate, but that's the first time that I had heard of it, and I was like, "That's
Yeah.
it. When I'm done having my family, that's what I'm going to do." So then that was like 2008. I had my babies in 2010 and 2012. Um, and in 2014, I, had a conversation with my husband and I said, okay, like we're done, right? Like we're finished. And we
Yeah.
had two boys that were 18 months apart. So we were like, we knew we were done.
It was
We
very
knew
solidified.
like that's it. Like we're not bringing any more babies home. Um, so yeah, so 2014 started this all for me. And I had my first Surro babe in 2015. She'll be 9 next month. It was like 2 days before Mother's Day, the day before Mother's Day
Oh, how
that I had
magical.
her. Yeah. We still keep in touch on Facebook and stuff. So it's super sweet. They live in South Florida, which is like 5 hours from me. But whenever we get down there, we absolutely, connect.
Yeah.
Um, and then after that, it was kind of just like, this was the most amazing experience I've ever had in
Oh,
my entire life. And I think like 90% of surrogates will probably say, like, I don't want to. The feeling is so amazing. It's kind of like, I have to do this again.
yeah.
I feel like I barely run into any surrogates who are like very one and done type of unless that was like their decision going into it. Like, I know
Sure.
this is what I'm doing. I'm going to
Sure.
have one and then that's going to be it. But most of the time it's kind of like, oh my God, that was so great. Like, I want to do it again.
Sure.
And that was 100% my experience as well. So I did it again. There was male couple in South Florida. And they had actually had me and another surrogate lined up at the same time. And the other surrogate ended up falling through right before contracts after like
Okay.
they it's expensive, so they put a good amount of money into the surrogate making sure she was vetted, and it didn't work out.
Uh-huh.
And at that point, I asked my husband, we had like a big, huge conversation about maybe possibly transferring two embryos. Because at this point, I've been with these guys for like a year, like you've seen
Sure.
all of this unfold. You're now like best friends with them,
Sure.
like the
Yeah.
empathy is there and you want this so bad for them. You've seen the
Uh-huh.
financial strain too that, that they had now gone through losing a surrogate.
Absolutely.
So um, I approached them and I said, I would totally consider,
Double.
transferring
Yeah.
two. And they, of course, took me up on that offer. And we did one embryo from each dad
Okay. Yeah.
with the same egg donor. And both of them stuck on the first
Oh,
try.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh. How
It
magical.
was it was so great. It was seriously, it was it was magical. Like exactly magical was the thing. So yeah, they had boy girl twins. One from so they each have a biological
Uh-huh.
kid, and then their kids are also
Of the same egg
um
donor.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
all like full circle, kind of like crazy situation. But it was so perfect. I delivered at 37 weeks via C-section, and it was amazing. And again, I still like see them and talk to them, and they're very, very open with their twins who just turned 6. about
Oh,
how they came to be, you know, in the whole
yeah.
situation. I just recently I had sent them a video for their birthday that was in January. And he sent me a video back of them both talking about like me carrying them in their belly. And like, it was just like the sweetest thing. I was like, oh my God, this is like, it couldn't get any better.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was super sweet. They named the girl after me, which was like,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, what an honor.
it
Oh,
was,
what an
yeah.
honor.
I know. Seriously, that I was like, oh my God, this is like the best thing ever. But yeah, we're really close and I don't know. They're forever like the most grateful, you know, for me, but at the same time, I just feel just as grateful for them because, you know, I don't know, they've have done a lot for our family, you know.
Of
So,
course.
yeah, so that was super great. That was 2017. I delivered them in January. And then
And you went back for one more time, even after
I
twins.
did. I did. There was a stipulation that I'm not transferring to embryo.
Successful.
One only. Like that was absolutely the thing, which is not um it's not uncommon. There's lots, you know, there's lots of people and there's a lot of like it was a good match because they only
Yeah.
wanted one. You
Yeah.
know, like they didn't want two. That was not their thing. Again, it was another Florida couple. So all of my surrogacies have been from people in Florida, coincidentally. Like I wasn't looking for that.
Sure.
But it would just, that just happened to how it worked out, which was
Yeah.
also good because that means that their clinics were in Florida and there wasn't like flying and like all of, you know, the stuff. But yeah, so then I transferred one single girl. We knew it was going to be a girl. No, a
Mhm.
boy. I'm sorry, a boy. Because she already had a girl. So she knew that she wanted a boy. And yeah, I had delivered in July 2020.
Oh,
And I
wow.
can't believe it's almost been 3 years because it literally feels like yesterday. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, almost 3 years now. So when I was 6 months pregnant with that journey, that's when I decided, okay, like it's getting close. I better do something else with my life.
Sure. Well, and so then three of those you had chosen to also pump for everybody. And
Yes.
so I feel like there's the journey of just being a surrogate. You're matching, you're getting to know these people and you're carrying a baby or babies. And then there's the decision of, okay, well, am I going to pump? Am I not going to pump? You know, things like that. What was your experience with your keepers as far as just your own, you know, breastfeeding or pumping journey? And then kind of what led you to decide that you did want to pump as a surrogate?
So I exclusively breastfed both my babies until they were 13 months old. Um, so when the first family approached me about pumping, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I think that's great. Like, I've
Mm,
never done it before. I have no clue what I'm doing, but yeah, like, let's do it.
yeah.
Um, and I really had no clue what I was doing. I really had no clue. I didn't realize like the commitment that it was going to be because it is. You don't have a baby and you're still waking up every 3 hours to pump, you know, and then there's
Yeah.
the washing the bottles and like the whole thing, right? Um, but for me, I feel like it was almost an extension of the journey.
Uh-huh.
It was the perfect middle ground for me to still contribute without, you know, carrying a
Sure.
baby.
Sure.
So I pumped for them for it wasn't that long because the logistics of shipping, it was just not something that they were like super interested in. But after that, you know, 3 months of pumping for them, it was kind of something I was like, I'm pretty good at this.
Okay.
Like, I'm all right at this. So I ended up signing up with the Preemie Milk Bank.
Okay.
and donating to them for a little while. And then I weaned for my next journey.
Okay. So as far as going back to what you said, you had no idea what you were doing. What sort of guidance or research did you do to feel confident
So
in
there
this?
was a ton of research happening. A lot of it was super contradictory, like
Uh,
um, pumping. There's like 80%, I think the statistics is, of women will pump at some point in their breastfeeding journey, whether it's going back to work, whether it's having, somebody else help feed the baby,
sure.
whatever, maybe even by choice. But the research, there was just not a lot of information. There was a Facebook group for exclusively pumping after surrogacy, which literally I got all of my information from. There was a wealth of knowledge for me.
Yeah.
So just having other people going through the same experience that you're going through, trying all the things, saying, no, wait, this is not what to do, this is what to do.
Yeah.
That was really, it was really eye-opening, too, because when I started my lactation journey, it was like, I could feel that there was so much misinformation out there and not a lot of information out there, that is something that I felt like we could really improve on.
Yeah. Yeah. So you did 3 months and then you did your creamy bank. And then with your second journey, you knew you were going to want to pump as well.
So they were super interested in the whole breast milk situation.
Okay.
They were like really into it, and I pumped for them for an entire year. They
Uh-huh.
fed their
Wow.
babies milk or breast milk. So that was really cool. And even after that, I pumped for a little while after that. I think I ended up pumping maybe like 14 months. So whatever was extra, there was other there's always babies that need breast milk, like
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's an adoption or another surrogacy or just local moms who don't produce enough. So there was a lot of donating happening after that.
Sure.
Um, and again, I weaned for my next journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so not only you were on your third journey, at 6 months, you decided you were going to pursue further birth work.
Yeah.
How did that all come into play? And then on top of that, you're pumping. So like, tell us more. What's been kind of the highlight of all of that? And how did you decide that that was what you wanted to do?
Um, I feel like it was such an organic way that it all came about,
Yeah.
from um just all this. I feel like it was a surrogate journey, and then like a small pumping journey, and then a surrogate journey, and then a medium pumping journey, and then a surrogate journey. And it was like, and I think also me knowing that it was going to be my last, it kind of made me think of like where I was going from here. So
Sure.
after my last journey, I ended up pumping for 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yeah, and I
Wow.
found local and long distance, long-term donors. There was two main families, and I shipped to them religiously. Um,
Yeah.
yes, and it was great. Like, I don't know, I have nothing ever bad to say about surrogacy or my pumping journey. I just feel like it was just really meant to be in like this really weird way, because none of it was planned. None of this was planned. It
Yeah.
just kind of happened. And even me now doing lactation and, doing the doula thing. And then I'm still thinking of like, okay, so like I have this business and I'm in lactation, I'm doing this doula thing, but it's all self pay. So there's no insurance that's helping. And that means that I could really only help a certain population.
Sure.
And then that population is limited because I'm only one person and I can only be, so many places at one time.
Yeah.
So again, I'm like evolving and I'm thinking like, how can I see more people? How could I see a more diverse group of people? And then that led me to working in a hospital. So, researching that, you come to find out you have to have an RN to
Mhm.
work lactation in a hospital.
Okay.
So then you go to nursing school.
And here we are, full circle. Oh my
So
gosh.
at this point, there is no lactation business. There are no doula clients. I am like fully immersed in nursing school. So that hopefully on the other side, I could like make a greater impact, especially in the county that I'm in. It's just not lactation, like support is not a thing. There's,
Okay.
it's either you have WIC, which we have super amazing lactation counselors at WIC, like super amazing in Hernando County. And then you have like self-pay, and there's like no middle ground, and there's no lactation in either one of our hospitals that we have in the county. So moms are leaving, and there's no help, there's no support, there's no guidance, and they're
Mhm.
just kind of stuck. So I was like, I could help that. I could change that. I could try anyway to, be the bridge.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and not only are you supporting, whether it be intended parents, but and just, moms with keepers, but you're also supporting other potential surrogates as they're about to go through their journey and things like that. That's amazing. Okay, so not to like going back a little bit in your timeline. So you went into birth work as a doula and as a lactation consultant. Did you yourself during any of whether it was your keepers or any of your journeys, did you have a doula?
I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't
Okay.
even know what they were. I didn't know that they were a thing. Now, hindsight, if I knew what a doula was, oh my gosh, yes. Like, why wouldn't I want that? Like, who
Okay, so for
wouldn't
those
want
who
somebody telling
yeah,
you that you can do it and you're amazing in that? Like, like, who wouldn't want that?
all of that. Sure. So for those who maybe, don't know, what is a doula? What do you do as a doula?
So I would be a support person for
Mhm.
pregnancy, labor, delivery, and postpartum. So I would be an educational source. I would be emotional support.
Mhm.
I am not a medical professional.
Okay.
So I am there to support and educate mom during her pregnancy and postpartum labor delivery
Mhm.
situation. So I can, give you resources and education and help support you on making the best decisions for you. Because I feel like there's a lot of non-information. Women go through pregnancy and they just think like this is the way that it's supposed to go. They don't know their options, right?
Okay.
So, um, that's what I'm there for. I'm there to like help and guide and support. And, during labor and delivery, I could be not only a support person for you, but like your partner as well.
Mhm.
So I'm
Okay.
not like taking the place of the partner, but I'm maybe helping the partner support their partner as well.
Sure, sure. What would be, or have you been a doula for a gestational carrier and an intended parent birth yet?
No. So I
No.
always tease that would be like end goal, right? That I would be like
Sure.
this liaison middle person between the IPs and the surrogate, and I would just show up at these births and I would just like coordinate it all and make everybody like so wonderful and happy. And um I think that would be amazing. But I do think that doulas could serve a super great to be like there. and help facilitate the birth, because I remember my first surrogacy, the IPs didn't make it. They weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I had my husband and he's great, but how great would it have been to have somebody there, who actually knew what I wanted, who
Sure.
knew what to do without even me having to say anything, that they were just there. And then to have somebody kind of, I had never met my IPs before that either.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the first time that I met them, they were literally coming in to not only meet me, but meet their baby.
Oh my goodness.
So there was some awkwardness. Of course, we had talked like a million times on the phone. But I always think of like how great it would be to have like that middle person kind of there, to help just like coordinate it and kind of like give it a tone. Um,
Sure, sure. What benefit specifically for intended parents do you feel like a doula could be?
So I feel like intended parents don't always, and I don't want to speak for them, but they don't always know where they fit
Okay.
in the
Like it physically
situation.
in the delivery. Okay, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I feel like, again, educating, right? Telling them
Sure.
exactly what's going on, helping to, maybe like bridge the gap between, um, it's my baby, but it's my body. Because I feel like there could be, in some situations, especially if it's like a medical situations where it's like, but this is my baby, but this is my body. Maybe like lots of education to help allow them to make the best decisions.
Hmm.
And then just
Hmm.
kind of like physically how to be there
Yeah,
for each other type of a
sure.
thing.
Sure. Well, almost, I mean, when labor and delivery nurses are there, they're really focused on the delivering person. So it seems like that doula would kind of, like you said, that gap of while the nurses are attending to the obvious medical needs, the doula could almost attend to that emotional space that's being created,
Exactly.
as well as
Yeah.
being an educator. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's a super fantastic resource. Super fantastic. Okay. So on the lactation side of things, did you ever well, you said your county did not have a lactation consultant. So you mostly did research or had the social media as your resource.
Yeah, yeah. I did not
Yeah,
have anybody physically to help me try to like figure it out.
sure. Sure.
So I felt like it now looking back, it could have been a lot easier if somebody was there, just literally giving me the information that I needed instead of me like researching and lots of trial and error, which is still a thing because it's not a one size fits all type of a
Of
situation when
course.
it comes to
Of course.
breastfeeding and pumping. But the amount of time spent, and money too, because you're trying all of these different things.
What would you say would be maybe just some of the basic advice that you would give to a GC or gestational carrier or intended parents as they're kind of going on this journey or the pumping aspect of that journey?
Sure. So just like basic things like, make sure that you have a good pump. Make sure that your phalanges are sized correctly. I did not even know it came in other sizes. Um, and a lot of lactation support, they don't know how to correctly size. So that's like
Okay.
a big controversy in the lactation world at the moment is, um, you know, oh, well, I was sized. Well, you weren't sized correctly.
Mm,
And that size of the flange is not only going to affect like pain, it's also going to affect your milk yield as well. So that's super important. Make sure that you're sized correctly. Make sure that you are on a schedule and that you're pumping for 30 minutes every 2 to 3 hours. Your body is literally supply and demand. So you have to make sure that you're telling your body that you need the milk. Other than that, like those are the big takeaways that are super easy to remember. And then like take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, make sure that you're eating healthy and that you're drinking all the water and, you know, taking deep breaths and breathing. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely could definitely do it. It is a lot of hard work, but I think the end reward is
Yeah.
totally worth it.
The water one was always, I remember sitting down to pump for, um, for my keepers and then also for my own journeys. And I remember always forgetting my water and having to be like, someone
Babe, babe.
just becomes so thirsty. And I was like, I do
Yes.
this every time.
The water, yes, you cannot drink enough. It's
Always the water,
crazy.
always the water. Is there any way, how were you supported by your intended parents, or were you supported by your intended parents during your pumping journey, or was that mostly your own support system?
Um, to no fault of their own, I don't think that any of them had ever pumped or
Sure.
even breastfed their own babies. Um, because, well, my first IP, she only had surrogates.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
she never physically had her own baby. So to no fault of their own, I don't think that they really know what's going in it.
Hmm.
They supported me financially.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. For
So,
sure.
I mean, there was definitely something there to where I felt appreciated because
Uh-huh.
they're willing to pay for this service, which meant they thought that it was worth it.
Yeah.
So I think coming up with a good compromise of how the surrogate feels appreciated, no matter how that that works out,
Yeah.
and that the IPs think that it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
Finding that compromise, I think, is really a key. Um, but it was mostly like. I mean, my husband supported me a ton, which is crazy because the amount of time that goes into pumping
Uh-huh.
is pretty intense. Um, but the way that he supported me was not complaining. You know? I mean, it seems so silly, but it was really huge that when we were out somewhere and I would say, okay, like I have to go pump, he would just say,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was like a really big deal that it was like I knew how much this is, taking away, but I think he also knew how much it was contributing to our family and
Mhm.
how mentally it was contributing to me because like
Yeah.
I said, it was such a good transition from being pregnant and doing this amazing thing, right? And then it's
Sure.
like, well, crap, what do I do now? So this was like, it was like a good transition for me emotionally. Um, and I think that he could just see that. Like, this is what I wanted to do, and it made me happy. And that was the way that he supported me was by not complaining and being
Yeah.
understanding.
No,
He
for sure.
wasn't washing the bottles and like he wasn't doing any of that, but just him not rolling his eyes every time I'd be like, even if we're having company, it's like, okay, like I'm gonna go now, and he was like, okay, like
Yeah.
that was just it, and like that, I don't know, and my friends were super great too because, I mean, they had to explain why their friend who did not have a baby has to leave to go pump, like,
Sure,
so
sure. Well, I mean, like
everybody,
you said, still waking up in the middle of the night. It's leaving, whatever occasion you're at, or pushing pause on something. I mean, it is a lifestyle commitment. It's something you're going to work around. So it is important to have that, support. And if it is just that verbal, absolutely, we got it. Go do what you need to do. And hey, don't forget your water. I mean, that's
yes.
huge. That's
And
huge.
I also want to point out too that it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it is not for everybody, and nobody should sacrifice their mental or emotional health to be in a situation of pumping, and it's not serving them. Like,
Yeah.
this is not something for everybody, but um if you don't, that's okay too. Like, I feel like
Mhm.
mental health is the first and foremost. And if that is suffering by any means, then you have to do what's best for you at that point.
Sure.
And that goes for even like moms, like,
Yeah.
if you're
Across the
not
board.
taking care of yourself and if you're not feeling your best, then you need to do what's best for you at that point. Because if you're not good, then nobody's good.
Absolutely. What would you say, so for gestational carriers and, just delivering persons, whether they be biological or a gestational carrier, but we'll speak specifically to a carrier, what would you say to her as far as she has decided she does not want to pump? What's kind of the best tips and tricks, I suppose, for drying up that milk and making it, a bit of a less discomfort process? I always say I got mastitis twice and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
It's the
But
worst.
it's the worst. The
Yeah.
worst.
So I feel like we might have it a little bit easier as gestational carriers because we could do a couple of things that maybe somebody who's has their own baby cannot do.
Sure.
I would absolutely take Sudafed.
Yeah.
It's going to dry up all your those mucous membranes, right? So that's
Mhm.
going to help a lot. Um, I would wear a tighter bra, nothing super constricting. You don't want to, be super tight. I would take peppermint oil and dilute it in some coconut oil and just rub it on your chest.
Okay.
You could do ice. You want to stay away from hot showers.
Okay.
Anything that's going to stimulate milk and a letdown. And then the best weaning process is always slow. Slow, slow, slow. So I would start, if you usually pump every 3 hours, I would push it back to 4. And then I would push it back to 5. And I would continuously go until you're at 2 pumps a day, right? You've got it down to 12 hours.
Yeah.
And then after those 2 pumps a day, I would start decreasing the pumping session. So if you're pumping for 30 minutes, I would then cut it down to 20 and 10 until you feel like, okay, like I don't need to pump anymore. But slow is absolutely a necessity if you do not want mastitis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's super fantastic advice. So you had said all of your journeys were in Florida, but you were still having to ship, whether it was for others that you were donating to and things like that. I know, being a coordinator and talking with my carriers and intended parents, that always seems like a very daunting task.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like especially the first couple times you ship, you are like a nervous wreck, right? Like you
Uh-huh.
have no clue like how this is going to work. Um the process it's not that bad. I
Okay.
promise you it is not that bad. So I had always every single time I had not shipped from anybody other than FedEx, so I can't speak on anybody else.
Uh-huh.
But I always shipped FedEx. I would always make sure that I was shipping on Monday or Tuesday so that if anything happened, it wasn't going to get caught up over the weekend.
Sure.
I would ship when I first started to ship, I was doing overnight. But then I pushed it back to 2 days because it was arriving like perfectly frozen. And then it was cheaper then for the IPs or as well, shipping
Yeah.
2 day instead of overnight. Um, so my first thing would be is I got Polar Tech boxes
Mhm.
off of Amazon. I never used any type of dry ice or anything, but the breast milk was I always shipped a large quantity, so the breast milk was insulating itself, if that makes
Okay.
any sense.
Sure. Sure.
So I always store my milk in gallon size Ziploc bags. So there are 60 ounces, and I would just stack them up, fit as much, even if there's like the tiniest bit of space, you're going to shove another bag of breast milk in there, so that it's completely sealed.
I know I've had a couple of GCs say with any extra space, maybe they would put in like newspaper or things like that, kind of as insulation. Um, and then after you kind of stuffed that all in, did you put, I know I've seen some people, human milk or that kind of label. Did you do any of that as well?
No, I put fragile on it.
Fragile.
But other than that, it was always so funny because almost every time I would go to ship, the person behind the counter would ask, "Oh, what's in the box?" And then, of course, you would get crickets.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't think it's every day that people are shipping breast milk. Hold on, you cut out one more time. So you said the your milk relationship with the intended parents or donors or that kind of thing, it's very much based on trust. So they're trusting that you're sterilizing and you said and not ingesting anything, correct?
Yes, and then I'm trusting that they're gonna pay for the milk.
Right.
So I would always pay for shipping, and then they'd go ahead and transfer the shipping cost, and the milk cost to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've never ever had anybody not pay me ever. Um, I have only had there was two situations with the milk arriving. One time, the box was lost for 8 days,
Oh no.
but the milk still arrived semi-frozen.
Wow.
I don't know how. Yeah, no clue. But the rule is as long as there's still some sort of ice crystals in the bag, slushy, it's able to be refroze, and they were able to salvage all of that milk.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yes. I feel super blessed that I've only had two situations with the shipping that were wrong. One of them was salvageable, the other one was not.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel super, super lucky about that.
Oh, I mean, your experience and then those tips and tricks are just beyond helpful to anybody who's doing this, whether it's a mom that's somewhere that needs to get the milk home from where the vacation or a gestational carrier. So thank you for sharing all of that. Is there anything before I let you go and continue your studying to become a registered nurse so that you can help others, is there any advice that you would give to any woman who is thinking about becoming a potential surrogate or any surrogates now that are maybe, trying to figure out if the pumping journey is right for them?
So, as far as like becoming a surrogate, the thing that I would probably say is do a lot of research. Make sure that the agency that you're going with is going to be a good fit for you. Make sure that they're concerned about who they're matching you with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that fit is so important. Like I said, I still am in contact with all, three of the IPs, and I guess just be really honest with yourself on what you want out of this surrogate relationship, that, the whole journey itself, so that you're not disappointed at the end, So, and then also know, like, no matter what happens, you still did exactly what you came in to do, right? You helped somebody, you helped another family have a baby. And that, I think, is the most rewarding thing out of all of it. And then as far as like pumping goes, I think that most surrogates know. I think that they know ahead of time if this is something that they're interested in or not. No expectations, no guilt. Try, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Don't, be hard on yourself if it doesn't work out, is really, I think, the takeaway here, is that it's not for everybody, and you just have to do what's best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, my final question for you. For anybody who knows me, they know that I have a very unhealthy relationship with coffee and I drink it way too much. And so it's the afternoon and I'm on cup number 3. What, literally or figuratively, what filled your cup this morning?
Coffee. Yeah, I had coffee this morning, and I will have a smoothie in a little bit, but that's it. Coffee is life for me as well.
Awesome. Yes. Yes. Not only are we Suro sisters, we're coffee sisters.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, Juli, I seriously I so appreciate you taking the time to, give us your knowledge. And I'm so excited for you and all of your endeavors. For anybody who wants to find out more, I know you've kind of put a pause on your personal practice. Where would
Yes.
they go to maybe find out more about you and what you do as a doula and lactation consultant, maybe after you become a nurse?
I do have a Facebook page, which is non-active at the moment. I
Okay.
had deleted my entire Facebook app. Like, I can't. It's not even something that I could indulge in at the moment. But it is, I think it's like Juli V
Okay.
CLC, I think is what it is.
Thank you again. I so appreciate you giving your time. I know it is so valuable, and good luck to you.
Thanks so much. Yes, my pleasure.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. Okay, Juli, well, you have a fantastic day and happy studying, my friend.
You have just finished listening to an episode of Me, You, and Who. To find out more about egg donor and surrogate solutions, go to www.createahappyfamily.com.